words from my mouth and the meditations of each of our hearts be acceptable and pleasing in your sight, Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. It's good to listen to the prophets, to get our attention on the big picture. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes we can get lost in the details. The details of life, all the other things that kind of weigh in on us. We need somebody to step back and say, hello? Are you ready? What do you need to get ready for? What part of your life is still maybe a little bit more in the wilderness than not in the wilderness? Did anybody notice that the Old Testament lesson, the prophets' words, were very similar to the New Testament lesson with John the Baptist? Did you pick up on that? This is one of those places that I hope you're nodding yes. It was pretty obvious. Prepare the way of the Lord. Make your path straight. Both the prophets said it and John said it. There were times in which both of them were saying it, but you know what? I caught a difference in those two passages that I had never really noticed before. So I'm going to read it again. And by the way, Lee, you did a great job of reading it the way it's supposed to be. In the Old Testament, it says, a voice cries out, in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. And in the New Testament, it says, the voice of one crying out in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. Did you catch that? You know, sometimes it's good to open up the good book. Because sometimes when you look at the words, you'll catch a different meaning. The prophet was literally saying to the people, in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. And John decided he needed to go into the wilderness. Dressed up in camel hair and belt, eating bugs, wild honey. And he said, prepare the way of the Lord. What's the difference between those two prophetic statements? One, the prophet goes into the wilderness and says, prepare the way of the Lord. The other, the prophet steps back with the big picture and says, in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. You see, sometimes we need to step into the wilderness to say those words from the prophet. And sometimes we need to be reminded that the perfect time for us to prepare for the way of the Lord is when we are in the wilderness. Are you seeing the distinction? This is a good time to let me know. John says, prepare the way of the Lord. The prophet says, in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. You see, we come to church, and it's easy for us to get ready. It's easy for us to step back and to get focused and to be reminded about the fact that when we decorate our houses, it's more than just out of a sense of obligation for a family, but it's a reminder of family. It's a reminder of celebration. It's a reminder of all the things. But my guess is there's a few of you out there that get a little bit wrapped up. I'm not talking about Christmas gifts, but get a little wrapped up in everything that needs to happen, and you go a little wild. Anybody here know somebody that goes a little wild? It could be yourself, it could be somebody else, it's all right. You can nudge the person next to you. Brothers and sisters in Christ, there's wilderness times in our lives. And it shouldn't be just about getting ready for Christmas. There are wilderness times in our life in which things aren't quite under control, when we aren't able to fully anticipate what's going to happen next. I mean, that's what the wilderness is, right? A place where things haven't been brought into this sense of, I don't know, control, this sense of domesticated sense in which we can mow the lawn versus let the grass grow. We try to control the environment around us versus the environment around us is in control. Do many of us have places in our life where things are a little wild? I saw one person raise their hand. Did any of you turn on the news? Did any of you pay attention to what's going on in the world around us? It would be so easy this time of year to just kind of give up on the craziness. Give up on the wilderness, the wildness of things. But we're in good company. You see, when we listen to the story of Advent, when we listen to the Christmas story as it prepares to unfold, all the stuff that happened before the baby was born. And by the way, I'm going to say it again, it's good to open up the good book and read it for yourself. We've got a Bible study going on Tuesday mornings. We had ice and snow, so the numbers were a bit down. So I'm going to just do a little bit of a test. How did Mary and Joseph get to Bethlehem? Anybody? Did Mary ride something into Bethlehem? A donkey? Guess what? It's not in the book. We made that up. We did it. It's not in the book. It's in all of our nativity scenes. We kind of put that together, and it's a reasonable guess. Pregnant lady didn't have to walk the whole way. If Joseph was a decent man, he probably got her a donkey around. But it's not in the book. Another question. When the angels came to the shepherds, how many showed up at the beginning? A multitude? No, just one. Just one angel. Just one angel came and said, "Fear not." I mean, I always got this picture of the skies being full of angels and the shepherds kind of freaking out. Oh, it's just one angel. They freaked out. And what did the angels sing when the multitude came? Nothing! The angels didn't sing. It says clearly in the good book that the angels said. They didn't sing. Now, I'll give the fact that angels talking sounds like singing to us. But the book says they said it, they didn't sing it. We just decided to sing it. And somewhere along the line, there'd be a whole lot of musicians out of work if we didn't think angels, right? Open up the good book. When it comes to the good book and the 4 stories about Jesus' life, we call those the Gospels, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and oh, phew. How many of those 4 have the story of Jesus being born? 2. And which 2? I can't quite tell what you're saying. That's okay. Some of you are just going to move your lips. Matthew and Luke. In those stories, I just want to ask you the question, without opening up the good book. If we turn to Matthew and read the story about the birth of Jesus, who did the angels come to? Just talking about Matthew now, not Luke. No angels, no shepherds in Matthew. No angels, no shepherds. Who do you suppose the angels spoke to in Matthew? I think I'm going to have you just take a look at that yourself, because I'm running out of time. Brothers and sisters in Christ, are you ready? Have you even read the story once again for yourself? Or do you just get used to the idea that you think you know what it says? Prepare your hearts. Let us pray. Gracious God, we thanks for the stories that you give us, the stories that you prepare us with. We give thanks for the opportunity to listen. To listen to your word, to hear the story shared. Gracious God, guide us and help us along this journey. Help us to find our way. Help us to read the story with new eyes. Read the story with open hearts. Help us to remember what this whole season is all about. Because maybe there's some wild and crazy places in our life that need you to be born again in our own stories. Guide us, O Lord.